Well, hello there, good people. It's Johny-J here, and welcome to another episode of the 3C Show. And as always, I am super pumped to be here. We're talking Photoshop again tonight. We're here with my main man, Shano, which should be good. We're going to be going and mask in Photoshop. I'm going to run you through the basics of layers and masks. I'm also going to give you a few tips, on how to use layers and masks. And then Shane is going to take you through a real-world example. How are you, my brother? Welcome to the show, mate. It's good to have you back. We've been on hiatus for a couple of weeks,
Hello,
mate.
hello. We have. There's been people sick. There've been everything's going on.
Internet
Yeah,
connections, and
yeah,
mate, I've Jimmy rigged this like
yeah,
4G modem with an antenna sticking out the window, and but hey, it looks
yeah.
like
We
it's
got.
working.
Yeah, that's working all right. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's all good.
yeah, yeah, cool. Well, if you're out there watching, shout out and say hello. We'd love to hear from you. And yeah, mate, that's good. As always, you can join the free Three Colors community at threecolors.co/join if you're interested. Join our free Discord server there. Lots of good things happening there all the time. And of course, everything Mr. Russell is at shanerussellphotography.com or at Shane Russell Photography on the socials. Everywhere you look at wonderful photographs. What else is new, man? What's been happening?
Not much. Purchased a new car. That's pretty good.
Oh, that's
Yeah, that's
awesome,
pretty
man.
exciting. Mm,
Yeah, that is
mm.
really exciting,
Can't
mate.
wait. Pick
Yeah,
that up. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
that's cool, man.
All good.
I have to get some
Yeah,
cool night shots of it, man. Like light it up and do something cool, man.
yeah. Well, light it up with some flash. That might be a good episode.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be
a
something
bit of
fun. Talk through how you.
automotive photography might be pretty
I'll have no idea
interesting.
how to
Yeah.
do it, but yeah. Anyway, it's
Neither do
not my
I.
genre.
Neither do I. But
Oh
yeah,
well,
we can. Yeah,
yeah. Live and
we
learn,
can
mate.
wing it. We
Live
can
and
wing
learn.
it.
Um, I just
Yeah,
wanted to show you
yeah.
quickly this photo that I took. I'll just bring up my desktop. Some mushrooms. So this is a
Mm.
focus stack of 3 images that I focus stacked together. Just the mushrooms in a field locally here at Anna Bay. And actually, the funny enough, man, like these are just the new ones that have just popped up. But the actual fully open mushrooms were bigger than my hand. Biggest mushrooms I've ever seen. So crazy, man. Just crazy. Never
Mm.
seen anything like it. So
Interesting.
super, super cool. I had fun shooting those, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shoot that with your macro, Johnny? Did you? Or
No, I shot those with a 70-200 at 200 actually. So yeah, I tried the
okay.
macro, but they were
Yeah.
just so big, and I just felt like I wasn't getting enough depth of field for how big the subject was. So I shot
Oh,
them,
okay. Yeah.
even at f16, there really wasn't enough depth of field to capture. Even though I focus stacked the three
Yeah.
different
Right.
mushrooms, it was hard for me to
Uh-huh.
capture that depth of field. So yeah, anyway, it's all good, man. So
Yeah.
you end up
Yeah.
using the 7200, 200 f8, I think, something like that. So and
Nice.
three shots.
Yeah.
But I think I might do an episode a 3C show where I go through the whole shoot because it's kind of fun. A couple of and we got really late
Mm.
afternoon light coming in from the right hand side, filtered by clouds. So yes,
It's interesting because like you could ask them like teach about manually stacking that too because
yeah, for
a
sure.
lot of people
Layers of mask, mate.
wouldn't
That's all it
wouldn't.
was. Layers of mask, brother.
Oh, okay.
That's it.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So I
Yeah.
actually tried to use
Yeah.
the automatic function with the focus stacking, but it didn't work. So just because of
Mhm.
the way the subjects were sort of overlapping, it just made a mess of it. So I ended up just doing it manually, actually. So yeah, would be a cool show, but
Yeah.
hmm.
Okay.
Cool. Let's get into the
'Cause then
Photoshop, say.
apparently the yeah
Yeah,
yeah.
what were you going to say?
So apparently the Nikons are really good at that though.
Oh, in camera. Yeah, I
Yeah.
have heard that. Yeah, I've heard that.
Oh
There's
yeah.
a few
Oh
people
yeah. From front to back.
in the
Insane.
community
Yeah.
have done it in camera, and yeah, the results have been pretty amazing, man.
Mm.
Technology is awesome, isn't it?
Yeah. It
Cool,
is
brother.
awesome.
Cool.
Mm.
All right, so
Right.
as you can
Mask.
see, I'm going to explain layers and masks in my language, Shane, but jump in if nothing makes sense, mate, because because this does complicate people, and it just, I don't know, some people just get so confused by it. But the way I like to think about layers, just think of them as like sheets of paper or any sort of layer you want to think about it. And the red one is on
Yep.
top of the blue one is on top of the white one. You can see by hitting this eyeball here, if I turn the red off, we then see the blue. If I turn the blue off, we then see the white. So, just think of them as
Yep.
like a stack of paper or sheets of paper, okay? And then down the
Yep.
bottom here, we have this button. It's like a square with a circle in it. This is the masking button, okay? And if I was to click that masking button, what that's going to do, if you think about it as like adding a sheet of paper between the red mask the red layer and the blue layer. That's sort of how I think about it, So it's a white mask.
Yep. That's the
Yeah. So think of it as like adding
easiest way to explain.
Yeah. So that's what I always say, man. It just seems like an easier way to go about it. So I think I've put a white sheet of paper in between these two layers. And if I hit the brush key,
Yep.
And go over here and swap this to black, I'll just go on 100% opacity. So you can think of the brush tool as like a pair of scissors now. So while I've got this highlighted here, and I'm on the brush tool, if I was to click in the center here, you can see I've got a nice feather brush. What I've basically done is cut a hole with a black brush on a white mask, cut a hole like a pair of scissors through that bit of paper, and now it's showing the blue layer underneath. Okay, so that's how I sort of think about it. So I'll just explain that again. So I've got the brush, I've got a black brush on a white mask over here, which is our sheet of paper between the red and blue, and I've painted on that mask like a pair of scissors and cut a hole through that bit of paper and then showing the paper underneath it. Okay, does that make sense? Are you with me so far?
I like it. I'm with you.
Yeah, cool.
I'm used to doing it on photos, mate.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I thought we could do it on photos, but I thought it might be easier just having solid color to start off, mate.
This explains it to people a lot easier.
Exactly, mate. Exactly. So there is another option you can do. Okay. So at the moment, this white sheet of paper is sitting between those two. But if I was to hit Command I or Control I, it's going to make the layer mask black. Okay. And what that's going to do is change the sheet of paper to black. But then my metaphor doesn't really work. You can think of it as it's blacking out this layer now. So we can't see that layer at all. So this black sheet of paper is blacking out this whole layer. So I can turn it on and off and it's doing nothing because of this layer mask is hiding this whole layer because it's black. So if I was to go over here and then swap my brush to white, like my pair of scissors, and with the layer mask selected, you can see now I'm cutting through the black layer and it's revealing the red layer. Okay, so that always confuses people, I think, with that. You just need to remember, if it's on white, it's like a sheet of paper between the layers. Okay, if it's on black, it's like blacks out the layer that the mask is on. So when you paint on the opposite color, so on a black mask, we painted a white brush, it's going to reveal that layer out. Make sense, mate? I hope it does.
Makes sense to me.
I'm glad you're all over it, mate. You're all over it, bro.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you have to know what brushes do what, because sometimes you might go a bit too far when doing a blend in a photo. That is
exactly, and you can talk about feathering and opacity and flow and stuff when you do yours, if you want, mate. When you soften it out. So I just wanted to get like the sort of the basics out with this part, I think, and then add a few tips as well. So I did mention these little eyeballs on the left hand side. So if I was to drag this layer down to the bin, that's obviously going to delete it. Okay, I'm going to delete that. Okay, if I created a layer mask here next to the red one and I hold down the Options key or Alt key on Windows, so Options on Mac, you can see I can drag the layer and copy it. So when that's really powerful is if you've done lots of work on a layer, say with your brush. Let's hit the X key here. So you've done a lot of work on your layer mask here. You've done a lot of work on your layer mask doing stuff, and you want to copy that layer mask to duplicate it onto another layer. Holding down the Option or Alt key then duplicates that layer down, and you can see what I've done now. So there are white bit of paper in between these two has got the black holes that are showing through to the blue. But what's happened is now this mask here on the blue is then showing those same holes between the blue and the white, and we're seeing the white color underneath, if that makes sense. So I hope that makes sense, man, because it's kind of confusing.
It makes sense. It makes sense to me. I just hope that people that don't understand that.
Yeah, if you got any questions, if you're out there listening, fire the questions, man. So that's okay. So, cool. All right. So just another couple of tips around the layers panel and things like that. So these little eyeballs, if you click on the first one and drag down, it's going to turn all the eyeballs on and off. Okay. So that's a really cool tool. The other thing you can do too is, say I wanted to turn these top two off. If I hold down the Options or Alt key and click on this one, it's just going to like solo mode that one and turn all the other layers off, which is really, really cool. I love the options key, man. Okay, it does so many things, hey? It's crazy.
It does.
The other thing I really like to do is a lot of the panels have these like hamburger menus, I call them. It's like these 3 lines. If you click on that there and you go down here to panel options, okay, by default, the thumbnail size is usually on this small, okay, thumbnail, but which is fine. But I find for my eyes and for photographers, we don't usually have, hundreds and hundreds of layers. So for me, it's just easier to make those thumbnails a larger size, and I find that easier to tell what layer I'm on, particularly when you start doing a lot more blending. So that's another setting I find is really, really handy as well. Another thing we can run into sometimes is when we're, say, in Lightroom and we're going over to Photoshop. Sometimes instead of opening up several photos as layers like this, it opens it up in like separate projects in these different tabs at the top. Okay, so when you have something like this, what you want to do is you want to move this layer, so this was a photo, onto this project. Okay, if I'm on the move tool, which is this cross arrow over here, and I hold down the options key, I can then grab this layer, bring it over to this other project and let it go on top. And you can see what it's done. It's just dragged that layer over to the other side, over to the other project from this one. It hasn't moved it. It's just made a copy of it. And the rain's getting heavy here, man, so you may hear it in the background. Another thing that's really handy too is if you hold down the Option or Alt key, you can see it's my favorite key in Photoshop at the moment, mate. And you click on a layer, it actually zooms to that layer. It's really handy, if you've got multiple things going on. Just zooming to a layer quite fast by clicking on it works really, really well. And one last tip I'm going to explain is sometimes this background layer, you'll see this little lock icon there. That just means that layer's locked. So if you want to interact with that or do something with it, quite often what you need to do is just drag that lock down to the bin, and that's going to unlock that background layer and make it a normal layer so that you can move it around and do whatever you want to do with it. One last thing I should have mentioned, mate, before we got started, Photoshop is actually a destructive editor, meaning there's only a certain amount of undos that you can do in Photoshop to go back. So if you've been working in Photoshop for half an hour and you've done 150 things, then you can't undo all those things. So Command J or Control J on a layer is going to duplicate that layer. So that's what I always do when I start off. And I should have started with that, Shano, but I forgot, mate. I got too excited about my layers, mate.
Well, can I throw in a tip?
Yeah, mate.
Can I throw in 2 tips, actually?
Actually, you know what? I'm done, mate. So I'm going to throw over to you and bring it.
Just leave it on this one for a minute, Johnny. Yeah. Just leave it on your one. Okay. Just drag that blue circle one off to the bin at the top. Yeah, just drag it to the bin and just show them about the opacity slider up here.
Oh, yeah, that's a good tip.
If you click on your red.
Yeah, for sure. So the opacity
bring
slider,
it down and just show them what it does to the...
That's a good tip, man, for sure. So you can see...
The blue will start to... See?
Yeah, which is... What's really powerful is now we're saying, okay, make this layer here transparent and so that other layer underneath. And this is where, Photoshop can get really, really powerful. Because say you've done some sort of... Say I've gone in here, right? And I've done something, that may be destructive. Maybe I've gone in here and added a hue saturation layer. And maybe I've cranked the saturation like crazy and stuffed around with the hue. And maybe that adjustment is quite strong, and maybe I want to tone back that adjustment. So rather than going in and have to fiddle with the sliders, often what you can do is just lower the opacity of that layer, and that then lowers the intensity of that adjustment or whatever you've done on that layer. So it becomes super powerful adding that into the mix. Well done, man. Good tip. Shano.
Yeah, that was one tip. And my second one is, you're right about there's only so many undos, but if you go to your history, you can go way, way back and click on...
Is that a history? I'm learning something here as well.
It should be in your...
Where is it? View history, version history. Is that it?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go. History. It's a separate panel. Yeah, here we go.
History. Yep. So see all this. See all that you've done there.
Yeah, you can.
So if you just click on any one of them, it'll bring it up anyway. If you want to go way, 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 way back.
Hot tip.
And just start again. Yeah.
That was just another panel I opened, you guys. So under Window History down here, you can see we opened up another panel there. Yeah, cool, man. Really good tip. Righto, bro. I'm going to throw it over to you, my friend. So now, it's all you, Mr. Russell.
So what I have here is a image taken at sunrise. And what I've done is I couldn't get it balanced. I didn't have any filters this day, so the only way to keep the shot pretty balanced, I suppose, is to take a what we call an under and over shot.
Yeah.
So I underexpose for the sky to keep the sky in check, balanced, and then if I turn my little eyeball off here, you'll see I've brought the foreground out in the other shot.
Yep.
So this is where the layers and the masks are come in handy.
That's right. So basically, there was
I would go down to here, like I said, this little. Yep.
I'll just explain why you did that, mate.
Johnny. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say. So basically, the scene had too much high dynamic range, so too much light information between the highlights and the shadows for Shane to capture this in one shot. So he's had to manually expose two exposures, one for the foreground and one for the sky. And now using layers and masks, he's going to show you how to blend that together.
Yep. Awesome. So I've brought the two in the first shot. So the dark on top, light on the bottom. So I get into this little icon that Johnny showed you before. So I click on that, which will put a layer mask on it. Now over here, there's a gradient. This one here that looks like it goes from black to white. Just here. And I just drag, make sure I'm on black, obviously. I drag up bottom. And it should start to, you can start fading this in. So it's just so people can. I would do it better than this usually, but it's just to show people how you can bring a photo in from two exposures. That's all, really.
Yeah, no, that's it. So basically, what you've done is,
and I can adjust. Then I can go to the opacity. Yep, and I can adjust the opacity of that too at the top. See, so I can bring it if I want to bring it so it's a bit more darker or more balanced with the opacity slider as well on that top layer.
Yep. So basically, you've added a mask.
So that's why I wanted to. That's why I wanted you to. I wanted you to show them what the opacity slider did too. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool, man. So basically,
in case it's too strong or.
Yeah. So basically, you've just added a mask to the top layer, and then you've used the gradient tool, and painted a gradient, a black gradient, over top of the mask to reveal some of the foreground exposed image underneath, which has created a blend between that bottom layer, which is the foreground exposed, and the top layer, which is the sky exposure. Yeah, that's cool, man. Really good.
Correct. So then I will, hang on a second, I'll do another one. So I'll just put another mask on. Now I'll go to my brush tool, and it's at 100%, and I'll lower it down to about probably 50% on a really, let me have a look here, feathered brush. And I could just, let me have a look, see if it'll paint it in for me. Here we go. I can just paint it in much more lighter. My RAM is having a shocking time
here. That's all right. I've just got a question from Narelle while you're working on that too. Narelle said, this method can be easier than using a HDR procedure in post, I think. It can be if you've got a really clean lines in your photograph. It definitely can be. You know what Shano showed here. But when you have more technical things, say a tree that you've exposed for in the foreground that sticks up into the sky, and quite a complex sky, often that can be a little bit trickier, and you have to use things like luminosity masks to do that sort of blending. But yeah, you're right. It can be an easier technique depending on how what the subjects are in your photograph, for sure.
I'm just going to lower this down, Johnny.
All good, mate.
I'll just bring it. There we go. I think that's a bit better. If people can see the mask, I don't know if I can zoom to that, but you can see how I've hit it hard in some spots and softer in others, just to get the blend right. Yeah.
Yeah. And how have you done that?
So that's all it is, like tool? Before and after. Just with the brush tool this time.
Yeah. So basically, you lowered the opacity of the brush down, and you've just done more brush strokes over certain areas.
I just kept lowering and lower and lower it. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, which is up here. It's up the top here.
Opacity on the brush.
So it's pretty straightforward once you kind of
understand,
get your head around the way layers work.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's great, man. That's really really cool, dude. Yeah. Just do that before and after again for me.
Except for this guy here, where
Yeah.
he's moved. I'll turn the mask off and on. So I'll disable mask.
Yeah. There you
That
go.
was dark like that. So I'll go before and after. See, you can see the two darker.
Yeah.
And I'll just turn the mask back on, and you can see where it's blended more naturally between the darker and the lighter shot.
Perfect, man. That's awesome, bro. Great example of layers of mask in action. So have you got any questions out there? Now's the time to ask. Yep. Is anything else you wanted to show, Shano? Any other little hidden?
No, not really. Like I just wanted to. Except I could clone this person out because
go and do it, mate.
You can see where I've done the blend. I don't know if people can see.
Yeah.
So I'll just go to this one here, which is a spot healing brush.
Yeah.
So if I click on that, and I will zoom in a little bit if I can. Let me drag it this way. Where is he?
There he is.
And
get out of my frame.
There he is. And I'll see if I can get rid of it. Actually, you know what? I can't do it. This has to be flattened first. See how? Oh, this is a good tip for people. See how I just went to clone this out here?
Yeah.
And it just does nothing.
Yes.
That's because this. So, Shift Command Control E.
Yeah.
Well, let me see if that'll. Oh, hang on a minute.
It's all right, mate. Yeah, that is the keyboard shortcut. I think you can highlight it, right-click, merge too, can't you? As well.
Now it will work.
Yeah. So basically, what Shane's done with that keyboard shortcut is combined that first and second layer together into a third layer.
Yeah. So I'm just removing the little man there, and
this is why I love Photoshop. It's just so powerful for moving pixels. It just so good.
Well, get rid of that.
All good, man. If you just that's the thing. You just keep trying until
there we go. So just this bit and
you're like me.
This stuff that's annoying. Anything that annoys you, get rid of it.
Yeah, that's it. I'm like you, mate. I'm not a purist.
So that's about it.
I'd rather a cleaner frame.
There we go.
Awesome, bro. Nice, man.
Yeah, it's pretty easy.
Good tip.
Yeah, all good.
Awesome, brother. That'll show we smashed through it.
Nice and quick and easy.
Yeah, that's good, man. Yeah. I think once people watch this a couple of times too, they'll get their head around layers of masks. And if anyone's in the community and they want a copy of these Photoshop files and stuff that we're playing around with, just let us know, and we're more than happy to give them to you and let you have a play around with them. So looks like there's no more questions. Yeah, go, mate.
You know what would be good? I don't know. Can we? I don't know if you could do it, Johnny. Can you add things for people to download?
Yeah, I can.
Like,
yep.
You can. Good.
I can. Yeah.
Good, because I think I can get a version of all the Lightroom and Photoshop shortcuts for people, Windows and Mac, which might be helpful for people to learn their shortcuts.
Are they the actions you mean, or? Yeah, we'll have to do a show.
Just their shortcuts to get to their tools in Photoshop, whether they're on Windows or Mac.
Cool. It's like a PDF.
You know how we do, like kind of, so people can just get it off us, I suppose.
That's good, mate. That would be pretty handy. Yeah, that's awesome, bro.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, all good. Yeah.
Too good, brother. Good suggestion. Good suggestion.
No worries.
That's it. Just remember, if you're interested in joining the Three Colours online photography community, threecolours.co/join. And Mr. Russell, Shane Russell Photography, everywhere, aren't you, mate?
Yeah. I'm everywhere.
Everywhere on Shane Russell Photography.
I'm everywhere.
Just about new photos every other day, I've got to say, man. You are a photography king. I don't know. You just pump out the photos.
Yeah. If I can't shoot, I'll drag one from the archive and post it. Yeah.
Actually, that's a really good tip.
Or edit it and post it. But
that's a really good tip. Going back through the archives and reprocessing photos. Yeah.
Yeah, if I don't reprocess one, I'll grab one that's totally different from probably same shoot. I mean.
Awesome, man.
Yeah, and post it. Or Plus, you'll see you've your editing skills change. So
that's right. You get better. Yeah, it's actually really rewarding.
Definitely. you get better.
A photo from a few years ago, go back and reprocess it, and then compare what you processed before to what you process now, and I guarantee you there'll be improvement there.
Yeah,
It's actually
it'll be 10 times better now.
Yeah, it's actually really rewarding.
It'll be 10 times better now than what it was back then. I'll tell you that.
Mate, for sure. All right, my friend. Awesome, mate.
Worries.
Thanks again for your time today, mate. I really appreciate it. That was good
That's
to punch out
Anytime.
another show.
Anytime.
And yeah, we've got something. We might do blend modes or actions or next week. So yeah, we'll keep the Photoshop tutorials running. I'll leave it up to you, mate.
Yeah, I can do actions. I can do We can do actions, or we can show people how to record an action.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, show them how to record, and if we've got some we can share, we'll share them. Yeah,
and save it. Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah, and I have a whole landscape panel of my own. So
perfect.
maybe
awesome.
we can. Yeah, maybe we can just. Yeah, all my favorite stuff just comes in with a mask already on it, ready to go.
Yeah,
so
that's epic, man.
Yeah, that's nice and easy to have. Yeah,
it's like Photoshop in easy mode once the actions.
No worries.
All right, guys, that's it for this week.
Yeah,
remember to come check out our free community, and as always, find Shanio, find Shano on the web, Shane Ross Photography, and that's it. It's been Johnny for 3colors, 3colors.co, and we'll see you in the next one. All right, peace
out.
My outro button's not working, man. It's all good.
Oh no, we'll have to do it ourselves.
Yeah. I'll just play this.